think men are shamed?
Would be for men, would be speaking up about emotional things or their emotions, how they feel. I would hold back a lot of emotions growing up, only till recently even.
Like for me, shame has been, for women I feel, it's more true, I've experienced it within culture.
A fear of shame, like how am I going to uphold to this level that I think I have to be.
Because as soon as we label something, it goes in a box and we're living through that label.
Because everyone feels this thing called guilt. I think guilt is actually a positive thing.
It's healthy. Because
it's healthy.
All we're doing is chasing this glass perfect ceiling without a smudge, and then the craziest thing is, like, I don't know one person that doesn't have a smudge.
Okay, welcome back everyone to another episode of the Be Human podcast with Aesha and Zuzu. That's me. All right, cool. This episode, guys, we're going to talk about shame and guilt. All right, so as usual, Aish, kick it off.
All right, we'll do it separately. I think we'll do shame and guilt separately, unless they sort of somehow...
You wanted to talk about this? Let's do it.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to ask you,
Go.
As a man,
I hope I am.
How do you think men are shamed? And have you had personal experience of it? What do you think men are feel most shameful about?
Shame. Okay.
Bro, don't you fucking have shame? Shame.
Yeah, but what's shame?
Shame is like when people like you...
Like, give me an example of what you think people or men... Like shame. Give me an example of shame.
Okay, so I'll flip it onto me, okay? So if you were asking me...
Because I've heard people say, oh, that's shame. That's a shame.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So what can shame really be?
So say you were asking me... So I'm going to just speak it through my filter.
Yeah.
Women have been shamed for, say, sexuality. Women have been shamed if they're divorced. Women have been shamed if they're, in that kind of context, if they've failed something, if they've had more than, a certain number of sexual partners. It's a shame thing, yeah?
Okay, so what I think... Look, times can be changing now, might be changing, but... I think men that used to speak up about their feelings a lot, if they were feeling depressed, if they were struggling mentally, if they weren't coping with certain load and pressure, I feel that's a long shame that's been happening for men, especially, you're a man, put up with it.
Yeah.
You're a man, you're supposed to do it that way. Take care of all that, it's you. So I think... When it comes to shame in society as a general and overall thing, most common would be for men, would be speaking up about emotional things or their emotions, how they feel, would definitely be the most important one.
Share a little bit about your own experience with that.
Okay, easy. So I would hold back a lot of emotions growing up, only till recently even. Especially in front of my wife and kids, if I was to show tears, doesn't have to be even sadness. It could be watching a bloody movie. Yeah. That's fucking a nice thing. Scene. And I start to feel, because I'm really in it. I'm in tune with what's going on. And showing any emotion that isn't aggression, right? Fierce or anything that can be perceived as, that's a strong man in a way. So showing any vulnerability with emotion, like where you're showing sadness, tears, that's always been a big one for me. But in saying that, just the other day, my son and Rome and I were listening to Man in the Mirror and then Heal the World with Michael Jackson. He started asking me all these things about Michael Jackson. Because he was learning Billie Jean on guitar with his grandma. His Gigi was teaching him Billie Jean, right? So I said, son, do you want to see my favourite song, which is Man in the Mirror?
Yes.
And I explained to him the words, what it means and all these things. And he asked a lot of questions. I said, are we going to see him? I said, he's dead, Dad. He's passed away, And we had the sunroof open. We pulled up to a birthday party, and I look at him, and he's like got tears in his eyes. I said, "What's wrong, son?" But at the same time, I was getting emotional, and I couldn't look. So before that happened, before I looked at Roman, I started to get emotional with the song. So I was like, I kept a real straight face, didn't look back. And then I think Jesse must have said something like, "What's wrong?" And I looked back, and he points at the screen, and he points up to the sky, and he's telling me like Michael Jackson's up there, up in heaven, right? And he starts to cry, and I just started to cry. Oh. And we're both crying, where before I wouldn't even had time or opportunity to really share that moment or become vulnerable with my son in that moment. I would be scared of shame. Like, what would people think? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even like Jesse was like, "Babe, stop!" Like stop. And I said, "Fuck, I'm not stopping."
Do you know what?
Do you know what I mean?
Do you notice how we say that we want men to be like vulnerable and sort of express that, but see the flip side of it, it's uncomfortable.
It makes people uncomfortable.
It makes people uncomfortable.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So I think that's where a lot of the shame, like from me, like that would be the shame. And what else? Like, for me, that's my main experience of shame. Like showing something where where people are going to look at you and think you're weaker, or do you know what I mean? Like,
yep,
vulnerable, weak, things like that.
Yep.
But I remember shame growing up as a kid was when we go to swimming lessons, and then we're all in the change room. I was really like shy of showing my body in front of the other boys my age, like. And some other boys were more confident than I was at that, so I felt shame. I used to swim with a fucking T-shirt on, and I wasn't like...
That's ethnics, bro.
Bro, do you know what I mean?
All our parents are like...
People would be like, "What are you doing? Like, take it off." And I remember it was like primary school, right? And everyone's like, "Take it off." It was like year 6 or something, and I was embarrassed. I had shame of showing I wasn't confident. Like, I don't know, for some reason I just didn't feel like I should show my body.
All right, so
do you know what I mean?
I'm going to lead
so
that
that's
into...
different, I guess.
Do you reckon that's a cultural thing though? Because, when you say that, I remember...
Nah, I remember looking at others and going, "I don't look like that."
Wow. What do you look like?
I was really skinny.
Oh,
and I knew
that. Were they
that.
not skinny?
Well, no, like I remember looking, or maybe it was the fact that I looked different, like everyone was different to each other. So I don't know, it was funny, but I remember having that thought process as a kid going, "But I don't look like what I see in front of me."
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if a girl gave that person attention or flirted or whatever, then I was like, "I'm definitely not going to fucking show anything. Fuck you." I'm definitely different in my mind. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that shame? Can you call it shame? I don't know. Did I feel shameful? I think I did. It felt that, it felt very similar. Like I didn't want to expose a certain part of myself.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to show a certain part of myself.
I think you hit
Mm.
that in the head. I think shame is a part of yourself that you want to deny or
Yeah,
you want
do
to
you know what I
hide,
mean?
right? It's like, and it's funny because kids, they know when they've done something and you have first put that's a wrong thing, they hide and they feel shame. They like if they've done something, like for me, shame has been, for women, I feel, it's more I've experienced it within culture. I think if you have a certain culture background and stuff, like you got to have a certain way of showing up so that family doesn't get disrespected, You, as a woman, you have certain responsibility to look, sound, portray yourself like this so that you're not shameful. So, for me, you got to consider shame has been such a big part of my journey. It's been incredible though. Like, I don't know how I sort of got to integrate shame, but I had. I was blessed with just it sort of being a teacher, and I sort of never ever pushed it away because I remember just because I was abused, and I think because I didn't understand, it wasn't something I had done. I had clear understanding. I hadn't done this. This has happened. So then I used to wonder, well, why should I be shameful about it? Right? But I understood also the projection from outside was like, it's a shameful thing because, people look like you're dirty, you're broken, you're tarnished, there's something wrong with you now, right? And so for me, because I was like, you used to be curious about that stuff, I didn't identify with it. And I had a very clear understanding, well, that doesn't define me. It was really weird how I understood that.
And even though you're saying this now, now I understand, and I can go back to my memory and see stages and things when my dad had to be called in for something, whether I was in trouble and my dad was good to find out. Shame. The most thing I was worried about was bringing disappointment to my father, and I felt shame. So whether it was getting busted doing the wrong thing, or at school, outside of school, it doesn't matter, but it was shame. And the avoidance of shame is what actually got me away from getting caught a lot of the times. Was that weighed more on my mind than, you know, you can be like, oh, I don't care if I don't. Some people like, I don't care if my parents fucking know. So
I don't know if that's shame. I think that's a sort of like respect thing.
Do you reckon?
I don't know. I think shame is when you're trying to hide something, or you are like, this might be a dirty, bad thing and I want to hide it. It's like, say a little kid's that's, you know, trying to like figure out their body, and they're like done something, or they've looked at a magazine and they got caught, they're shameful because they think that's bad or dirty. I think shame comes from, you know what I'm saying though? What are you laughing at, idiot?
You just said that now. I remember my mum opened my second drawer when I was a teenager.
See, now look how much shame he's had.
Yeah, I remember. I had no fucking shame. She's putting my jocks away. She pulled out my box of condoms, put them on my bed. She's like talking, yeah, habibi, talking
Did she
to me.
realise?
She's grabbed them. She put them there, put my jocks. She put the box on top and she closed it.
No, she's like, I don't want to see this shameful stuff.
And it was so, I remember looking, going, and I was fucking like, she's opening the drawer.
How old were you?
I would have been maybe 17 or something.
Oh, dude.
And I remember she's opening the drawer.
You knew what was coming.
And she's opened the drawer. I was like, 17 or 18 or something, you know?
Dude,
and I was like, no, but she did it so easily. I was like, whoosh.
She just let you know that I know.
Yeah.
I know, brother, I know.
That's, like, I thought I had this drawer. I was hiding all my shit in there.
She knew. She was doing it for that.
She made it my jocks drawer without me knowing.
Oh, shit.
And once she moved my bedside table and the bottom drawer to pull the drawer out and put my knives, my fucking smokes,
she knew that too.
everything under there, and put the bottom drawer back in. Once she remodeled my bedroom.
No, she came home. He came home.
Bedside table, moved it, and everything's on the floor.
He came home. She's cutting tomatoes with one of them.
Oh my god, with the butterfly knife, she's going.
Yeah, so I think shame has to do with a hiding something that you think is wrong. For me, you know, it's crazy, right? Because I've understood too, if you integrate shame, because like you're allowed to feel uncomfortable about something. Look, I've been divorced twice. There's something like that in my culture is also looked upon like shit, you know. But for me, it's like my value list is happiness and joy and peace. Yeah. Yep. So like shame, I'm grateful for shame because it sort of makes you contemplate and think about why is this. I always look at it and go, why do I feel this? You know. But like, you know, I remember I've had guys who have tried to use that shame to dominate me in a way where I'm going to use that thing about you that's dirty in their mind to make you feel small, you know. And I looked at that, I thought like, wow, this is a very, you know, thank you God that I have a very deep understanding of that, and I've never felt that. But I thought like, wow, like people weaponize shame.
Of course.
Right? People use it to actually have power and dominate over someone because, you know, it's such a big motivating factor to how someone carries themselves. And I was like thinking like, thank you God that they did it with a girl like me, because at least like I didn't feel like I don't want to be here. I didn't feel like, oh my God, I don't love my life. You know, I was like, oh bro, with that, I'm still amazing. Okay. Like, you know, and so when I look at that, you know, shame is something that you can actually utilize yourself, transmute it, and get others to understand, dude, nothing in this life that is of God is dirty. And nothing in this life is scarred. You know, it's like people have to understand that, because all we're doing is chasing this glass perfect ceiling without a smudge, without a... And then the craziest thing is, like, I don't know one person that doesn't have a smudge. Yeah,
because that's not being human then.
Yeah.
To be humans, we...
You know, and...
it's like that tat I got on my arm that says, I'm a sinner who's probably going to sin again. Lord, forgive me. It's like, You want me to be perfect,
Yeah,
but I'm a human. I cannot be perfect. I have to trip over. I've got to stumble.
100%. But imagine like being like, look, you know, I'm doing my best. That's what you always got to do. You just got to show up for your best.
You have to keep trying.
But you're allowed to fall so many times.
Yeah.
God never said to you that you're not forgiven. You're allowed to always try your best, but He said to you, fall as many times you want. It does not matter.
You know, I used to go to church, you know, let's say, it was weird. I went to church a lot at one stage. I think just before I met Jessie in that 5-month period, I was going to church. I was going to church a lot, right? I had left a relationship.
Jesus is like you need
No, I was going to church a lot. And I remember sitting in Mass on Sundays and walking out going, fuck, how am I not going to sin? How am I not going to sin? This is hard. Like I was going, fuck, man, like how long am I going to go not sinning? Do you know what I mean? And it was so, to my head, so unrealistic.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. Like, and I used to think, how did all these guys that I'm learning about not sin? Like how? You know what I mean? And I remember having that thought process, and it just felt like a mountain that I was never gonna be able to climb, right? And then that's when I went and got that tat, and I said, well, no, I'm thinking of it in the wrong way. Of course I've got to accept
100%
that you're going to do the wrong thing at times by people, or you're going to say the wrong things, or whatever. Like, you're a human being. Don't focus on that. You're missing the story. You know what I mean? And and I remember that was a thing, and that would have been like a fear of shame. Like, how am I going to uphold to this level that I think I have to be in order to be a better person or to grow from what I've been. And then I realised I had it all wrong.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I look at that and I think, you know, anyone that's going out of their way to shame someone else, like maybe, if you look at it, someone who has had sex with, say, 50 people and you're shaming them, right? What about the act of what you're doing right now?
Exactly.
You know, like you're highlighting this and you think that this person's a bad person. What about the judgment of that, though?
Exactly.
You know, so it's like, you know, people don't realise that our biggest problem is that we all want to be good people, or perfect, without a smudge. And it is not possible, like you said. If we're human beings, right, I believe that, like, the ultimate is to be able to hold both. You have to be a sinner and you have to be like the goodness,
100%.
right? And I said, and the bit in the middle is where we lie.
That's our journey.
Because every time you consider yourself to be righteous, someone else has to be the shit, right? Someone else has to be the one that's doing the wrong thing, the dirty one, the bad one, the corrupt one, or whatever. And that's why shame...
You said shit.
Sorry.
Carlo bleeped
that out. Shit, beep.
Yeah.
You said it too.
Oh no, but that's how real and raw our convos are. Like, she said it like
why'd you point that out? I thought it was going to blend in.
You said it as if we said hello to each other.
Carlo. So I feel that shame is important because also it makes you look at something. Shame is important because it gives you a thing of like something doesn't feel right. But when you identify with it, when you live as it, you think that you are broken, you whatever. I think that's where the problem is, because obviously if I'm doing something that's not in the best interest of myself and the people I love and collective people, then I should feel something, right? Of course. I should have that. And if you want to call it shame, shame. But you cannot walk around thinking that you are not worthy or you are not godly now, that because you have got these scars, these marks, these smudges, right? Because honestly speaking, man, like, you know, you go back now, look at people that were so-called amazing people in the public eye, all their shit's coming out, you know? Ooh. All their shit's coming out, brother. Like all these perfect people showing up at places, you know, externally all the friggin' skin's tight and everything's great.
They're the most messy.
They're the messiest ones, you know? So I feel like it's time to like allow people to have scars, to have like wounding, to be different, to man, like you're allowed to have things in your life have happened to you or you have done when you were in that space and time where maybe it's not of the highest, but you're human, we love you, and I think it gives another when you own yours, you give another person next to you permission to fucking start to love themselves, because it's easy to love all my goodness, man. It's easy to love everything good I've done for someone else.
Of course.
It's amazing, but if you start to love yourself completely, all the little smudges and stuff, I think, you know, people feel that. It's a real thing, and I tell you something. It's a big part of why I feel safe with you is because you're so fucking good with all your shit that you'll just own it, that I'm like, well, that gives me permission. My nervous system feels safe. You feel safe with me because there's just absolute...
Well, you know what, as well, as I stopped caring about other people, what they think of me.
Exactly.
And that removed that shame feeling.
Yeah.
I have no shame, and really, I'm shameless now because I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Call me what you want.
Yeah, I'm like, great. I'll add to it. Yeah.
Man, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't
100%.
really, it doesn't change anything, so.
No. And I do. I look at that too. I think, man, if someone's making you feel shame, question, it's a title. Someone has said you're this, and then you feel shameful. Look at it yourself. You know, why is this triggering me? And when you don't push anything away, it's a good opportunity to investigate. So if someone says, like, okay, I've been divorced, or you're divorced twice, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Like, why am I going to be shameful? It's a fact. I chose it. It's a fact.
Yeah.
So, you know, what part of that am I denying? If
That's
it's
right.
triggering me, then it's something I'm denying.
Yeah,
about,
something, you're not
I have
okay
a belief
with
that it's not okay to, because that's why it's triggering me. So I think it's a good opportunity to also look at yourself and think, you know, where am I not free? Where am I stuck with this word? And how can I step into my power and integrate those sides to myself?
100%. So let's talk about the cousin of shame. Cousin.
Twin.
Twin?
Fucking,
Is it a twin?
3 hours later.
3 hour later twin. Not Siamese. 3 hour later twin. Called guilt.
Guilt.
Dun, 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 dun.
I struggle with guilt in the sense that I don't know if I'm guilty. Do you feel guilt?
There's different ways
No,
of
I
guilt.
felt
Like,
guilt
what's
once.
guilt?
I felt guilt.
I have. When I was younger, I felt
Yeah,
guilt.
me too.
That's because we're more reckless as people, I think.
I
too.
also
don't
think
know.
we're conditioned to thinking like you can't do wrong, and I think you have to uphold this friggin'.
That's the thing too, though. It's like,
hectic.
you know, what was our labeling back then on ourselves? Because maybe if we, I don't know, turn back time and could relive what we did and how we were with a different mindset, we probably wouldn't be as hard on ourselves and feel that guilt and all that. Because, what were you doing? Like, what if majority of people your age go through that journey? Do you know what I mean?
I think you have to, because it expands your capacity to deal with people. I said, man, if I didn't do shit things that I felt guilty about, well then anybody now that did something wrong, I would just judge straight away because I didn't do it. And I think that's important that, you have to have a range in that spectrum.
It's our experiences that really make us.
Yeah.
It's our experiences.
And guilt is fine, because also, again, we have shit relationships with these words, but I think, like, if I've accidentally hurt something and I felt guilty about it, or if I've yelled at my kid and I was like, later on I felt guilty, I fucking should, because then I can reassess and go, okay, I didn't feel good about doing that. Can I change the behaviour later on? And
that's bringing wisdom.
Yeah, it's bringing
right?
it, yes.
So how are we going to be wise enough to move on or to learn or to do anything if we don't have those feelings to begin with, or those experiences that add to a list of, well, yeah, now you know to approach that situation differently, right, in a more wiser manner, let's say. So I think guilt is actually a positive thing.
It's healthy, because
it's healthy.
I always say to people that I work with, I say, okay, you feel, say, guilt or shame. I said, okay, if you didn't know that feeling had a name, wouldn't you just feel it? Because it's literally like a little, it's a messaging system. It's a communication between you and what's going on, right? So if you took away the labeling, because what happens as soon as we label something, it goes in a box and we're living through that label. We're not even actually processing what's happening, right? But if I took away the label and you just sat with that feeling, the feeling is telling you, hey, this doesn't feel right. How nice. How nice that you feel guilty that you yelled like that. You spoke to your wife like that. How great is that? Because it's showing you you're off track, bro. Come back.
100%. And
come back.
It's probably our own law that we can live by, right?
Yes.
And it's different to standing in front of a judge and they're like, oh, I found you guilty of something, right? Because that's a law in itself.
Yeah, that's different. That's secondary.
Different. That's secondary. That's not human law.
No.
Right? The feelings of guilt is what keeps you
100%.
checking yourself.
And you know
what?
I mean? This is even before morality. You don't even need morality if you really access this intelligence of like what we call guilty or shameful. Right. If you took away the word...
We understand why there's a word there.
Yeah,
because so we can understand that there's something there, right?
Yeah, 100%. But again, my level of shame or guilt will be so different to yours. We're talking about the same topic, but it's not the same experience for us, right? So that's why it's tricky, because I'm trying to point you there, but I can't directly say this is it.
Correct.
This is where, you know, uncomfortable feeling stops and then shame starts. I can't tell you that. Where's that, right? However, I can say that if we sort of start to look at a feeling and understand that all we have to do is process a feeling, because it's just showing you, hey, this intelligent system is a bit off track. Let's see if we can get back on track. That's all it's giving you. But we're so fixated on the meaning, and then we punish ourselves because, oh, we feel guilty. I'm like, you should fucking feel guilty. Like, why is that a bad thing? Because we're so programmed to positive thing. But why isn't that positive? It's because if you're bumping into the walls, wouldn't I fucking direct you back this way? Hey, turn right. The positive feeling, if you just only had good feelings, you'd be going down the wrong path for fucking 2
it's a falsified experience anyway.
It's silly. You're never going to go into your fucking authentic self if all you're doing is fucking chasing the happy.
That's right. You know, it's a very cool way to think of it, yeah? Because everyone feels this thing called guilt. I can already remember how many conversations I've had in the last week with people.
Really?
You know, 100%.
Why are you guys all feeling guilty, man? Come hang out with us.
Yeah. We'll be locked up together. 100%. But yeah, man. And if they looked at it in this way, it is just an opportunity for you to check yourself and go, hey, opportunity for growth, for change.
Redirection,
wisdom,
man.
Redirection, everything.
And I'll tell you something. You know why people feel guilty?
Why?
Because what happens is when the personality is making a decision based on what's happening, you put so much pressure on yourself, like, oh, I did the wrong thing. I said, okay, what if you took the personality out of it and you just served the moment? I'll tell you something. Say someone comes in here, they're very rude. I've tried to like whatever, and I'm looking at it and I created my own boundary and I told that person to even fuck off, right? I'm like, fuck off, right? A lot of people would say, oh, I feel guilty I said that.
A lot of people say that shit. Yeah.
I don't though, because I'm like, if I looked at this situation and I looked at what I'm feeling and that person is coming into my space and doing whatever, I will serve this moment.
Yeah.
And
that
I would
was
say,
responsible
fuck off.
too.
I'm responding to like, hey, you've been a bit aggressive. I'm going to push you back there. Then what would happen is because I served the moment, I don't have guilt because I served the moment.
Yeah.
So then out the door, I actually don't hold on to the grudge.
That's done.
That's done.
That's done.
That's
done.
That's why I don't have guilt, because I'm like, hey, I'm not going to carry it the whole day and go, that guy's an asshole.
You know, I'm like that.
Or he'll come in and I don't say anything. And I'm like, I'm going to be a good person and I'm going to sit there and just not say anything. But the whole day I hate on him. I hate on him because he spoke to me like that. But I'm not going to say anything. I didn't serve the moment. I served my personality. I'm going to be a good person. But the whole day I've hated on him. And they don't feel guilty about that. But they'll feel guilty when authentically they set a boundary that it was needed. And I think this is where we fucked that up too.
Yeah, 100%. And look, my experience with something, let's say that, is if I'm in a heated argument, right, I'll always, you know me, I'm a reflector. I act to the moment and then I reflect later a lot. Yeah. Right? And I reflect and I dissect and I digest, and I don't hold grudges, but I do a lot of reflection for myself, right? And sometimes I'll catch myself and go, okay, you know what? The next time this situation arises and presents itself, I'm going to try to not say it in that way.
Exactly.
You know? Not that I feel guilty, I'm going to hold a grudge against... No. That moment is a healthy, normal moment that needs to be expressed. It's done.
100%.
The second after it's done, it's a whole new moment again.
100%.
Gone. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of mate, if you find like a lot of even diseases they're working out now, diseases, inflammation, all this comes from people holding grudges and being in a state of anger and all this for far too long.
Not saying fuck off when needed, but then the whole day hating on that person,
yeah,
carrying that resentment.
Having their argument.
That's right.
Moving on with life, going about their days, and their days might be completely separate, yeah? Experiencing life, coming back to the fucking same shit.
Exactly.
Or waking up the next day, and then I always used to tell people, don't hold grudges.
Exactly.
If you hold grudges, you are not affecting that person, you are affecting yourself, you know what I mean?
You can't hold grudges if you completed that experience.
100%, yeah.
Right, because it's finished. So, like, I can't slap you, right, and then try and slap you and slap because it's finished. That one slap, it's finished, right? So what happens, like, people don't realise that if something is completely felt, seen, expressed authentically, you can't hold a fucking grudge. And that's why you can't be guilty, because it's completely expressed. People only have guilt when it's fucking, the system has still got charged with it, which means it did not complete.
Yeah, not finished with it.
Not finished with it. So, that, again, too many people are considering the personality and trying to be a good person.
And the ego.
That's the personality, right?
Yeah.
And then don't fully experience the moment or express in the moment.
Yep.
And this is why they get stuck. Yeah. So, on that note.
We got
to go.
Yeah, we got to go. So that was a lovely little convo we had again. We're having great combos on our own. Fucking great. Great combos.
We've always done these.
Mad combos. So yeah, guys, that's a little bit of an insight from our perspective on shame and guilt. Yeah, play around with it.
Yeah.
Be shameless, if you like.
Be shameless.
There's a movie called Shameless.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is it a good one? Good.
I think she's walking with her high heels in, she's
no.
had like a rough night.
One of those.
What's that walk called? They call it some
Is
shit.
it?
What's that walk when you're walking from a
I don't
fucking
even have
big
high
night?
heels, so I don't know. That's not
What do they call it?
I don't know.
The walk of shame. What the fuck?
Is it the walk
That's
of
what's called
shame?
shameless. The walk of shame, they call it.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, anyway. Yeah, guys, don't be too hard on yourselves. They're just fucking labels.
Labels, but also just message. It's a communication.
Communication, and I tell people this, and I tell myself when I reflect, it is an opportunity for you to move on in a different way, to grow and to change your fucking journey.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So yeah, don't look at it as negatives. Look at it as an opportunity, a lesson to keep going. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Subscribe, hit us up, keep following our shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it, huh?
And thanks for the love, guys.
Thanks for the love. Any questions? If you just want to have conversations, just hit us up on the Instagram. On the gram, hit us up. We're always happy to talk to people.
Always, man.
Yeah, even if you just want to fucking voice your opinion or you need to talk about something, and we don't judge. We're ready to rock and roll.
100%. Be human.
Be human.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We hope that you enjoyed it.
Don't forget, guys, to please subscribe. Check out our website to stay up to date with events, merch, and just to get in touch with us.
Also, follow us on Instagram. We post a lot of good shit and funny shit.
You'll find that at the Be Human Movement. Until next time, guys, please remember to be human.